Welcome to Mind Prosperity. And in this journey or in this series, we are speaking about chapters out of my book, The Art of a Mental Breakthrough. The book is available on Amazon, so you can check out Albert Villa and The Art of a Mental Breakthrough on Amazon. And in the book, you'll get much more information, but I'm so excited about doing these sessions on the book. The book has two parts. So The Art of a Mental Breakthrough is if you want to have a breakthrough in life, the breakthrough starts in your mind and in your emotions. Because Daniel Goleman said we have two minds, a thinking one and a feeling one. And we're speaking about the two minds in the book. And we speak a lot about emotional intelligence. We speak a lot about mindset. So if you want to go check the book out on Amazon, I do believe this book is going to help you and encourage you and teach you a lot. So today we're also doing a session out of the book called Emotional Intelligence in Toxic Environments. So it's very difficult for many of us to stay emotionally intelligent and manage and master our emotions well when we are in toxic environments. But the thing is, we cannot always get out of a toxic environment. It's not always that easy to just not be there, because the world has toxic people and the world has toxic environments, and we don't live in a world where we can totally escape this. So how do we handle it? And how do we stay emotionally intelligent in these environments? This is what we're going to speak about today. Psychologist Albert Bandura said, psychology cannot tell people how they ought to live their lives. It can, however, provide them with the means for affecting personal and social change. And this is just the thing, we cannot always determine how we're going to live our lives. We can plan, we can have a vision, we can determine certain things, but a lot of times life throw things at us, and we don't really know how to manage it, how to handle it. And this is where emotional intelligence in that situation is extremely important. Have you ever been in a building or at a job where they like have these fire drills, or fire that they set off the fire alarm, and this is a drill, you have to exit the building, and this is in preparation for when the fire alarm actually goes off. And when the fire alarm goes off, when there's an actual fire, this means get out of the building, because if you don't, the fire is going to burn you. Now, imagine the fire alarm goes off and there's really a fire in the building, but you decide, this noise irritates me. I'm just going to cut it off. I'm just going to cut off the siren that lets the fire alarm go off. If you do that and you stay in the building, the fire is going to hurt you. And it's a lot the same with toxic relationships. Sometimes we just cut off the sound that says this thing is toxic, this thing is not good for you, and we stay in that thing until it burns us. Now, like I said, we cannot exit every single situation, but we can, inside of us, determine how we're going to live our lives and how we're going to protect ourselves, how we're going to protect ourselves emotionally in these environments. So what are toxic environments? And I want to give you two things here that can tell, and I'm sure there's more, but these are the two that I discuss in my book. The first one is they are extremely judgmental and harsh. So you feel like every single mistake you make, every single thing that you do wrong, every single thing that you do bad, there's like this extreme pressure, this extreme judgment, this extreme bad thing that's happening when you are in this environment. So they are extremely judgmental, they are extremely harsh. The second one is there's unhealthy comparison and competition. Now, what is a healthy comparison and a healthy competition? This is, for instance, if you are a tennis player. If you are a tennis player and you go on the court, obviously you have to compete and play to win. That's a healthy way to compete. But if you just compete the whole time against the world out there and you're never happy with yourself, that's an unhealthy competition and an unhealthy comparison. If you can never be happy with yourself, you always have to compare my clothes to other people's clothes, my weight to other people's weight. And you have to be in competition with everybody all the time. That's a very toxic environment. And if you have people in your life that are like that, they're in competition with you the whole time in an unhealthy way, and you feel like you always have to compete against this person, that's an unhealthy competition. So you have to think about if you want to be emotionally intelligent in these situations, You have to think about your thoughts, you have to think about your feelings. Metacognition is a word that we use to describe thinking about your thoughts or thinking about your thinking. Meta mood is about thinking about your feelings, so thinking about your emotions. And this is what we have to do in these situations. We have to think about our thoughts. We have to think about our feelings. What am I thinking about the situation? Is this what I want to think? What am I feeling about the situation? Is this what I want to feel? Now, I remember I went to a farm once, my friend's farms, and I rode a horse on this farm. But I'm not really used to riding horses, and this was about the time when the sun started to set. I climbed on this horse, and first I walked with the horse, and then I started to jog a little, and then I started to run. But because the sun was setting, there was a wire, and I didn't see the wire. The wire hit me on the chest. I fell off, and the horse kicked me on the leg, and I got very hurt. What's the moral of that story? Your emotions is like that horse. If you cannot manage it, it's going to manage you, and it's going to steer you, and it's going to hurt you. And this is why when we are in these environments, we have to know how to steer our emotions. Now, if you can get out of the environment, it's a good thing. It's a necessary thing to get out of the environment if you can. But we know we cannot always escape these environments, and we have to know, like I rode that horse, you have to know how to manage your emotions. Clinical psychologist Clinton McClemore said, a toxic relationship is a relationship where someone continually throws surprises at you, raises your anxiety levels and make you feel bad about yourself, and can cause you to become depressed or anxious. And these relationships are very up and down. They will sometimes praise you. They can even be sometimes very charming and charismatic, but then they criticize, then they drop, and you're always anxious. You're always like, what is going to happen today? And that's a very manipulative, toxic person. Dr. Lillian Glass defines toxic relationships as people who don't support each other, and the relationship drains you. You constantly feel sad, angry, or anxious, physically and emotionally abused, and the negative moments outweighs the positive ones. Now, this doesn't mean, every single person, every single environment is going to be perfect, because people do have their ups and downs. But you have to ask yourself in general, is this relationship, is this person, is this environment doing this with me the whole time? And do I feel mostly anxious, or do I feel mostly encouraged? This will give you an indication if the environment is toxic or not. Now I'm going to give you a few steps on how to manage and master this toxic environment, or we can say how to ride this horse and how to steer this horse in this situation. Before I get there, we are trusting to go to 1,000 subscribers. Your subscription can help us to get there, and also you sharing the other video to other people where they can watch the video, they can subscribe, will also help us. Leave us a like, leave us a comment, tell us what you are learning, what you are thinking. This will also help us to take this channel forward and to help other people in the process. And don't forget to go check out the book, The Art of a Mental Breakthrough, on Amazon, and I'm speaking out of the book today. So, strategies for exiting a toxic environment. And Janine Brummer and Dr. J.C. Euster spoke about this. And the first one is acceptance. Make peace with the situation. Now, this doesn't mean, accept the situation and stay in it, but make acceptance that the situation is what it is, and it's probably not going to change. If you try to change it, and if you try to deny it, you cannot steer it. And this is why a lot of people cannot steer and manage toxic relationships and toxic environments, because they don't want to accept the fact that this is toxic. They think either it's going to change or they deny it. And then the second one, or the next one, learn from the situation and have compassion on yourself. Now, in toxic environments, they don't have compassion on you. The situation doesn't have compassion on you. And you have to learn from the situation. Learn what's going on. This is where metacognition, meaning thinking about your thoughts, and meta mood, thinking about your feelings, will help you a lot. Then forgive yourself. Make sure to forgive yourself. Now, a lot of people can say, but in these environments, I didn't do anything wrong. Nothing was really my fault. Yes, but you had such, these environments causes you to feel so much blame upon yourself that you start to think that you are the problem. And forgiving yourself, even if you aren't at fault, is a very important thing. Then rewire your story, rewire your thinking, rewire your emotions, rewire your observation about it, and then rewire your future. How do you rewire your future? You start to think different, you start to feel different, you start to act different. Your thinking, feeling, and acting determines your story. And these environments can give you an indication on where you've been thinking, feeling, and acting in ways that you shouldn't have been feeling, thinking, and reacting. And then the final one, disengage yourself from toxic relationships and environments where you can. If you can't, then make sure you steer that horse, like I just said, and say, listen, I'm not going to take these things as seriously, and I'm not going to allow it to get to me. And I'm always going to, like, I'm going to distance myself from this environment a bit. And then you have to learn to recognize healthy environments and learn to get yourself into healthy environments and healthy relationships as much as you can. And here are a few things that you can look at to recognize healthy environments. There's safety to be authentic, so you can be yourself in this environment. If people want to change you the whole time and they don't accept your unique self, if they want you to fit in with the world the whole time, it's actually a toxic environment and it's not good for you. So a healthy environment is where you are safe to be yourself, and then you are safe to feel vulnerable and you are safe to be vulnerable. You don't feel like you have to put on this mask the whole time and you have to act as if everything okay when it's not. You can show your wounds. Now that doesn't mean become this person that always complains and that's always sad, but it does mean there should be an integration between, yes, I have a positive side, I'm a positive person, I do have good hopes for life, but I do also have hurts, and I do also have things that I'm vulnerable about, and I don't feel ashamed about it. Okay, it motivates you is the next one. These environment, even if you are vulnerable, and if you have made mistakes, they help you to be resilient, they motivate you, they encourage you to go on. And then the final one, and this is a very important, just hit my mic. This is a very important one. It brings joy and peace. So normally, naturally, we want to live in a state of joy and peace, and we should seek out environments that brings us joy and peace. And this is what we wanna get to. And like I said, this will help you to change the environment within. This will help you to manage and master your emotions in a very healthy way, because we cannot always change the external environment. Like I said, when we can, we should, but we cannot always change it. But although we cannot always change the external environment, we always have a decision to make to change and to master the internal environment. Thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to see you guys next week. We love you, and we thank you for supporting our channel.